So I thought I'll talk about the life today. As we all know how important our life is. Really, it is something very, very important. And it's very easy to say life is important. Then it's very easy to agree by all means. But you do not really understand unless there is a threat. When there is a threat, and then you begin to wow, what's going to happen? Yeah, begin to worry about it. Like in my case, during the winter retreat, there's a little, during the winter retreat, it's a little bit worse, but also in the Holland, during the teaching, there's a little cut on my toe, and so I thought, well, it's a little cut, so it's going to do nothing to be worried about it. And then it's getting worse, and during the winter retreat, I also thought it's a little piece of a toe, so what a big deal. I sat there, and then after the retreat is over, as I said, went to a doctor, and they shooed me to the ER immediately. So, meaning the next morning. So then they say, well, you may have to amputate your leg. So then you go, wow, what's happening? So we begin to worry about it. So just like that, when there is a threat in life, then you appreciate, you have the clinging on the life. Otherwise, normally we take it granted and not so much a bother about it. It's there, you went to bed, and you're going to get up, and the days are going to function as it is, and nights you're going to be busy, I don't know, whatever you're doing, and plus sleep and a dream and all that. Next morning, you'll wake up sort of, routine, you take it granted. So really do not appreciate the importantness and how important it is, how valuable it is how it is really basis of all that's A-L-L, all our functioning. If there is no life, and that's the end of everything, as we know. So that's what it really is. But we don't think about that. We don't appreciate that. I don't think we do understand that because we are taking granted. Because ever since we are born, we went to bed, sleep at the night, and we woke up in the morning. So we took it granted that I don't know how many times it is. For me, like 76, according to the Western counting. According to the Tibetan counting, I'm 78. According to the Western counting, I'm 76. I think the Western counting is right because they really count day to day. The Tibetans have some extra month when you're born, something count. Sometimes when you're born one day and next day you are 1 year old. Something. So we don't know exactly. But the Western counting is really It is really from your birthday to birthday. So it's counted. So probably 76 or 78, whatever it is, it is. And so that year, I've been sleeping down and getting up every morning without any problem. So we take it granted. And also when you get up, everything is granted as a usually functioning. It is alive, it is functioning, but we don't think about it. Teachings tells us think about it. And when you begin to think about it, even though, yes, you're right, it is important, yes, you're right, it is difficult to get, yes, it is very valuable. That's a yes. And because you don't want to contradict, sort of, you almost, I know, or the sort of thing. But we really do not appreciate our life. Our life. And then, although traditional teachings will tell you importantness of the life, and life itself, and the difficulty to find separately, that's also true. But if you think together, it makes hell of sense. And it makes a lot of difference. It really adds up to the appreciation of the life. The opportunity, particularly this life gift to us. Really, it is something wonderful. When it begins to limit, and then you begin to appreciate. In my case, like my eye, when I see it, when I see everything without any difficulty, the sight, the left one is a 22 point something, 22 seeing. And over a night, the blood pressure dropped and is somehow disconnected, and then see nothing in the morning. And this already damaged by diabetics, and still, so I can really sort of fairly see. And when I don't see it, then I think of when I used to see it, how wonderful it was. And I appreciate what has gone by losing. It's a good thing because there are two eyes, one I lost, so then but yeah, the one sees a little bit something, and yet I'm still intact, so I have an opportunity, chance to appreciate when I used to see. Though we complain with glasses, this and that, and all kinds of things, but really it is wonderful. There's no problem to read the book. There's no problem to recognize any one of you who are sitting there at the back there those days. So I appreciate that now, but a little too late, right? Because this is not reversible. It's not characterized or anything because of the blood flow. I didn't get in, so I can't repair that. And but then you appreciate. The life is also the same thing. But by the time you really appreciate it, we're gone. I don't know whether we can think back and appreciate. And perhaps you can, because I always been very grateful to whatever my previous life is. Forget about it. That incarnate Lama and previous is the abbot of the Judo Tashi Namje, the greatest scholar and all that, and forget about it. But as a normal human being, I appreciate my previous life tremendously because this life, I had a wonderful life, a really wonderful, wonderful, wonderful life. Number one, I was born in the land of snow, Tibet. And I had the greatest opportunity of Buddhist studies under the greatest master valuable then, Kyungdo Rinpoche. And then King Gyume Rinpoche. And then Loshu Rinpoche. And then Gyabje Ling Rinpoche, Chizan Dorje Chang. And all of those, Gyabje Lhabzun Dorje Chang. And all those, and my father was one of the greatest Tibetan incarnate Lama. One of the very few incarnate Lama who substituted the Dalai Lama during his young age or time of disease and all that. And there are only 2 or 3, and happens to be one of them. And briefly speaking, my father's previous incarnation was so big in the sense of becoming very big Lama. And we had some kind of a civil war between the Tibet government and my father's Labrang and a monastery for 10 years in Lhasa. For Lhasa divided into north and south. So we had that sort of and that big. And finally, of course, we lost. They lost, and then the Pengeling was completely destroyed into the ruins. And the government of Tibet declared that my father's reincarnation cannot be recognized completely. And they have announced that completely everywhere. Big announcement. It's not like today. Today, if the United States government makes a statement, it's covered by TV, radio, everywhere, every Twitter, everything else in the minute. And those days, it has to be literally carried by people, the message from day to day, month to month, everywhere throughout. They have to do that announcement. And then they hang a big letter on the squares or public gatherings. They read and explain and do all that sort of thing. That is how news get in those days. So, but they made the rule, his reincarnation cannot be recognized. Then the funny thing is, my father, that is Onjula, my brother who's here today, visiting from Tibet, and our father are born into 13th Dalai Lama's nephew. And not only born in 13th Dalai Lama's nephew, but sort of without recognition, everybody somehow knew this is Dhamma Rinpoche. Somehow everybody knew, without a recognition or anything, sort of a common public talk, becoming. So then the Tibetan government reversed his decision of not recognized incarnation, but to recognized incarnation, permitted recognized incarnation, and very limited estates giving, very little estate, and a little accommodation and all that sort of giving. Everything has been confiscated and divided, distributed throughout Tibet. Today, many of the old monasteries do have a lot of materials from our house. Anything regarding religions, ritual objects, decorations, ornaments, paintings, tangas, everywhere throughout the Tibet. And people will very proudly show this is part of Gelek. So that was the family. So it was due to my previous lives deeds. So I appreciate. Even in my long life, it says, long life, it says, I forgot the word. Sonam yishe sabe tu, ringne sonam yishe sabe tu, jango jango chosum pachembu, kuza tsume temutu wi regisaso tongla so on. So somehow, even Loshu Rinpoche referred this as ringne sonam yishe sabe tu, because of the long accumulation of merit and wisdom merit. You're born as a son of 13th Dalai Lama's nephew, the equivalent less Dhammadruku. So this is the number one. I appreciate my previous life. Number two is because of this, automatically I'm somehow engaged in Buddhist activities and Dharma, and that of Jamgon Lama Tsongkhapa's follower, and that of Jamgon Lama Tsongkhapa's follower. So I appreciate that, number two. Number three, my mother was known to be living Dakini. Not only a living Dakini, but also when she finally passed away under very difficult circumstances during the Cultural Revolution, but her body just shows she is a living Vajrayogini. So I will not tell you detail. So somehow I really appreciate my life tremendously. It is all I credit to my previous life. Previous life. As Loshu Rinpoche said, Rinne Sonam Yishe Sabedu. Long life, accumulation of merit and wisdom merit. Today we talk about accumulation of merit and wisdom merit. Sometimes some of you think it has a value, it has importance. Some of you think, well, it is a part of this Buddhism, or it is, maybe it's not, but whatever it is, when I need it, I will have it. You may think it that way, but it's not. I am a living proof of that. Yet my life has a lot of interruptions. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and in Tibet, we used to have uh, we used to have a, a station wagon car and a truck, and then somewhere there was a Dana Fiat Ferrari also when I was a kid. So all this, and then Tibet, there's maybe 4 or 5 cars even in the whole country, and that's sort of interested in life. However, time came in 1959, you just have to run without even a begging ball in your pocket. The beggars will also have a begging ball. We don't. I have to run. As well as my father and my parents and my brothers and sister not born yet, but and they were all sealed, confiscated, and put in jail and do all that, and never nothing. A penniless beggar made into one day. So that sort of a transition, it took place in my life, but somehow, however, I managed living between hand and mouth throughout. The other day, I did share you funny story. I was told yesterday, Glenn was talking about the biography and the secret biography and the Dakinis and all that, right? Am I right, Glenn? Yeah. So these are part of my secret biography. I did share to you this, what had happened above the Mount Tawang, up in the mountains, up in this rocky area up there. A group of nuns who brought us in between the rocky, and they took all these donkeys up there. I don't know how, but then when you get in there, they're settled where all these animals exactly fit. There's no more, not single extra, no more everything, and they get plenty of those grains and the peas, and give they give us wonderful dinner, beautiful sleep, and next morning they saw us off to the road, and when you look at back, there is a non-existence of anything. So this sort of thing, when you have a secret biography, it goes in that. Publicly, if you write, it's not right because nobody's. Some people will say, no, there's not such a thing at all. I know this geographic area very well. There's not a thing. How can it be possible? It's just made up stories, they will say. And that creates more negative than positive of appreciation. I appreciate tremendously because, number one, I'm hungry. I'm totally sleep deprived, hungry, and all that, and then a very wonderful rest of a night. Fed animals, fed everybody, even give 25 silver coins, and little food reach up to Tawang. So that is how managed. And this is somehow unusually happened to me. And so I appreciate all of those. I appreciate my life in Drebung Monastery. I also enjoyed my life in India, no matter how crazy it might have been. Crazy, wild, smoking, and running around and being the sort of worst possible. Well, I didn't steal anything, but didn't cheat anybody. But besides that, no alarmist behavior at all. It's just a crazy, crazy, crazy life. Crazy, that's what I enjoyed. And I don't want to get back into Buddhism, though my faith to my teachers and the faith to my projects is unshakable. However, I don't want to do it. I don't want to say it. I don't want to do all that. And all my great teachers, all of them are so kind, including both Jebje Trizan Rinpoche, Ling Rinpoche, Lochu Dojecha, Khenpa Gyaltsen. Khenpa Gyaltsen constantly followed me. Wherever I was in a Congress school, so Rinpoche came Congress for 3-4 times. And I was in Delhi, Rinpoche came 3-4 times. And tried to push me to go back to the monasteries and have a Geshe degree taking. And I do have a Geshe, give me a Geshe title in Dharamsala, Geshe Laramba title, in Ling Rinpoche's house with a little ceremony. He is a Losaling abbot. And I have done my Geshe distribution before I left Tibet. And so I'm Geshe that way. But then he wants me to go and I have to sit on the big exam and take a number and all that, and pushing me all the time. And even later, I'm married. Even then he said, now get divorced and go back to monastery. And again, which is in that habit. And not only me, Terab to go. In Denmark, Rinpoche went to Denmark twice to persuade Terab Rinpoche to drop his wife and get back to monastery. And anyway, that's this is sort of so great teachers. And my first teacher, Gyeyunru Rinpoche, was such a great, one of these Pabongka's outstanding 4 students of Lamrim, 4 pillars of Lamrim. So if I look back in my life, it is all so great, including kicking from Tibet 1959. And if I had not been out of Tibet, number one, I would not have learned English. Though I didn't know English, whatever little I know, so I would have not learned it. And I will not be communicating with you people. My job, my sort of karmic responsibility is to serve you people, whatever manner I can. So I will not be able to do that without knowing little bit of English, which I can sort of very terribly communicate with you. And whatever I have learned English, I did not study. That is my regret. I had so many opportunities to study. His Holiness put me with the English teacher to learn, read, write, and speak English. I didn't study. just that they carried the bag and then go back and all that sort of thing. Didn't do anything. And thereafter, so many opportunities to learn English I didn't do. And Allen Ginsberg try his best every second that he had with me, try to teach English. Every word he will give you the background of the word, spelling 3-4 times, repeating. I said, just everything is going with the word I heard, but and all that, and every new word comes up, and he will tell you where this word come from, what is the Latin root, what is the Greek root, and all that. I pay no attention for whatsoever. It is such a waste of opportunity for me. And this sort of thing happens in life, how we waste our opportunity. I mean, who else going to get Allen Ginsberg teaching you English? And come to your house, standing there, and try to tell me what it is and all that. The day after day after day, he does that. He did that. But I never paid attention, and which is absolutely my loss. Honestly, because be able to communicate something is good enough for me. I think that was probably at the depth of my mind. So being lazy, never studied. Otherwise, I would have been good English scholar today. Could have been possible. Why not? So, but it's my fault. So things like that, I appreciate, and our life today, I appreciate tremendously. Yes, I have difficulties. Yes, I don't have a kidney functioning. Yes, I'm half blind. Yes, but I can still see it. I can still live. I can still function. I have no pain, nothing. And so I appreciate again tremendously. I don't feel because, I'm sick, I'm terrible, I'm this, I'm that. I think I'm fine, I'm well, I have no pain, I can function, I can talk, I can think, I can communicate, I can still serve. Whatever little I know, I can share with you people, and I can do my job. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that, because of accumulation of wisdom and merit in many lives, many lives, many lives, and be able to communicate, be able to help people, whatever little may be. Always, everybody gets some benefit for connecting with me. Many people reduces their neurosis. Many people reduces their anger. Many people, remember Ginsberg, when he first came, he's not that mellow, kind gentleman. He's quite an angry person. You read how, you know how he was. Within a couple of years that he been, when I was thinking, since I know him, He probably came 4 or 5 times to Michigan every year, and sits at least 4 or 5 days. And then I've been in New York those days quite a lot. So we had a very close association. Somehow it affected he became such a kind, mellow, compassionate gentleman. Even day when he was dying, he was saying, when they told me, I thought when they told me I'm going to die, I'm going to hit the ceiling, and now it's a totally different. I try to help the doctors to tell me. By looking at their face, and they knew I'm going. So I said, going. They shook head. He said, it said federal. He said, yes. They said, yes. So make them easy. So I'm preparing to go. That's how he was. So kind, so gentle. And kind to everybody else too. Not for himself alone, but everybody else. So people somehow get connected with me. And there are a number of people. There's a woman named Louise Bodhi. Louise Bodhi, woman name. And she was a little difficult person, African American lady in New York. And getting better. And one day she told me, thanks to you, people in the supermarket treating me much better. They never treated me like that before, and they're treating me much better, and all that. And now she's very old, and I haven't seen her for a couple of years, and she somehow contacts Joel Hart all the time. And very recently, I think last week or something, she sent me a huge amount of money too. Quite a lot of money as a gift. And she wrote, you've been kind when I needed, and you brought me compassion when I needed or something. So very, very thank for the gift, but at the same time, and that is how people's life get affected somehow. And I didn't spend that much time with Louis either, except whenever I went to New York for a couple of times. One day, we having a little workshop in New York. She asked me, you said Buddha, and what is really Buddha? So I thought, we went to walk after the morning talk, before lunch break. So then I thought it's easy for her to say, well, Buddha is almost like a god. Okay, she didn't say anything. And 2 weeks later, she wanted to talk to me, and I talked to her. She said, well, if Buddha is like a god, I'm not interested. Okay, so I realized I made a mistake, right? And I thought it would be easier not to talk too much. It's like a god. That didn't work. Anyway, so things like that happens, Anyway, so I appreciate every part of my life that I connected with the people, contributed for their thing, which is really, and what I'm talking about in my life, you should think about your life. Each and every one of you helped people, contributed people's life, children's life, and your spouse's life. And all of them are because of your previous lives collection of wisdom and merit. Wisdom, merit, and merit. The result you're enjoying, whatever your life today is. So appreciate previous life, particularly American life, no matter how difficult, how poor you may think you are, but if you compare with the life in the slums of Calcutta or anywhere else, this, your American life, is much, much superior. Superior. Who bothers in the third world nations when somebody has to sleep on bare cement floor, or somebody who has to sleep in the rocky area? We used to be proud of saying that we used it, the cold stone, as bad, and cold ground as bad, and cold stone as a pillow, and that's how we put effort to Dharma study. We used to say that. Sajala de, tojala nge. That is purposely did. But if you look in the life, third world nations, nobody has very difficult, poor people. Doesn't have it bad. They don't. For the first time, I saw in Japan the homeless in the park has bad and the building and all that. This is for the first time I saw the homeless people with bad. No one has bad. Just simply on the bare ground, just lying down. And that's it. And the cold stone used as a pillow. So then compare with that life and your life, the Americans and the Western life. Of course it is your karma. It is, of course, it is your deed. But it is much better. So appreciate rather than feel bad about it and bring it sadness, depression, and all that. But appreciate, compare with that, you are great. But actually we are equal human beings. Whether you're born in East, or you're born in Africa, or whether you're born here in the West, we're all equal human beings. However, you have a better natural facility. They have natural poor facility. We may call that civilization, or we may call that economic development of the country. But it is your karma, your deed, and yourself. So that's why you should appreciate your life. Honestly, never look up there and the billionaires who are wasting money for nothing. For nothing. Multi-million dollars for the election. Well, yeah, in the trickle-down economy, it may be helping a lot of people too. But it's a sort of really huge waste of resource. Look at the wall, how much we waste. Total waste. Total waste. And yeah, but all this because of your good karma. Your good karma. That made this happen. So this is your life. So you should appreciate. Don't look down on yourself. Please appreciate and embrace the, no, embrace the life. Not only that is your life, but it's also very important. Really, extremely important. More than anybody else, more than others, your life, what you have, because of your open mind, because of your karma, because of your connection, somehow you can do something for you and others which none of your colleagues or your peers cannot do it. You have that superior opportunity. Really, opportunity. If each one of you go back in the society you're dealing with it, how many of them will think about future life? Almost none. You are the strange fellow in there. Forget about it, past and the future life, but caring about others. If you go back with your colleagues, think about it. Everybody will be caring for yourself more than anything else. Nobody will be caring others. If your economic level is a little bit higher, if your educational level is a little better, then you may begin to think about helping others. Beginning with the humanitarian disasters and all that, very sympathetic and forthcoming. But that much is limited. Even you look at today, the American society, the wealthy class, the rich class, they are very generous, no doubt about it. And they always wanted to help. They always wanted to give back to the society. Many of them do. Many of them do. But, and that also, so if you look in, carefully examine that mind, and that has not so much depth, because I have a plenty I wanted to help. I don't even think many of them see it. Helping others is the way to help yourself. I don't think they see it. Many few may do, many don't. So you somehow well-informed, so you have a much better opportunity than even those people. You may not be rich in terms of money or wealth, but you are very rich in terms of information, spiritual information. And remember, information is power. Information is power. So you have tremendous spiritual power, at least to make yourself right, at least to protect yourself from negative karma, at least to help others little bit. Depends how much you have development and knowledge. But you can. You have a power. So these are one of the greatest opportunity. But if you go according to the Buddha, so you can make yourself and others happy forever. Forever. Becoming fully enlightened. Fully enlightened. The word enlightened is called Sangye in Tibetan. Sangye. Sang means clear. Clear what? Two obstacles. The delusional obstacle nyundip or the impint shidip. When you clear these two, it's called sang. Ge stands for fully build knowledge of a total existence. Sang, ge. That's the two words means that. So you have a possibility of leading yourself towards that. You have a possibility of taking your friends along with you in that journey to be able to reach in that level. And that is the greatest opportunity. Along the way, you have an opportunity to develop love, compassion. Along the way, you have an opportunity to overcome your neurosis, anger, hatred, obsession, those disturbing, afflictive emotions. You have an opportunity to handle them, control them, eradicate them. These are the greatest opportunity open to you. And which is not open even some of your spouse, children, and other colleagues. Just simply they don't believe it, they are not interested, or whatever the reason may be. But this is you. And you have those greatest things, honestly, in your hand. Now the question is, what would you do with it? If you're going to take life granted as I said at the beginning, sun rises, sun set, night comes, night goes away, sun rises, sun set. As the routine, usual activities are big waste. It's a waste because you have the opportunity, you have a capability, you have an understanding. But if you let it pass, just like Indian says, Ayaram, Giyaram, Ram has come, Ram has gone. So if you do that way, yeah, that's how we live a life, lazy way. Anyway, so that's why you are here. You don't want to waste your life. That's why you are here. Good. And so let's see what we can do. Let's continuously talk. I'll talk to you next week. I'll be here.
Rinpoche,
Yeah.
I think you should tell one more Songwe Namtar story.
One more song.
Secret biography story. Don't you think?
I don't know. Oh, I don't remember that now, honestly.
Next week.
Maybe. All right. Maybe. Yeah. So, because, when I talk about the appreciation of the life, and I can't go on and say, you should appreciate your life, and that doesn't work. I say, I appreciate my life. So somehow, it's a couple of them leaked out, sorry. But, oh yeah, I can tell you one story. Yeah, I just remember one. It's a funny. When I was a younger kid, we go to a little village called Njang. It's about, I don't know how many miles away from Lhasa, but from Daegu. And we all go there in winter, the most coldest time actually, 11th month of Tibetan calendar. That's the coldest time. We go there and to study logic. Logic is the subject that we study in the monastery, but not a usual Devo Sarakanden. All don't study. They're in the what you call it, the subjects that universities teach. They list there.
Curriculum, yes.
Curriculum, yeah, and it's in there, but they don't study in Debung or in Ksara or in Kanden. We study a whole month, 1 month, once a year, in the place called Jamyang, Winjang. This, not this Jamyang guy, and Jaya, yeah, and they go there, and it says Manjushi, this place. We go there and study. And that, when you get there, the administration of the monasteries, all of them, will fall under Ratu monastery. Ratu. And Ratu has a protector. Ratu's protector is the same as ours, Siddhapa. Somehow, one of the Siddhapa's retinue or something, there are a number of different ghosts are there. The one of them is very well known in those areas is called Pungusubdi, which is a drunkie with the drunkie showing the teeth. Pungu, so thick, So, but people say Pungu Subdi. They sometimes sound look like hip hop drunkie or something. But People talk about it a lot. Uh, about I saw donkey there, and most of people will say a monk at the night covering his head, and yet there's tall, two tall ears standing there, and this and that. But one day I was late for Game Jensen's teaching in Loseling. There's a Loseling built his house up there somewhere, up there. And so I was in the Nyarakamsa of Radu, and I was teaching to a group of people. When they go back to Debung, they have to debate. Those who are sitting behind have to debate. So preparation of their debate. And Radu has some funny gatherings. The gatherings, they give you huge doughs, cooked dough with the soup, and they will drink the soup and save the dough and eat, and also money distribution there. So everybody goes there, and their assembly hall is not big enough because Ratu is not big, so not big enough. Everybody will be in the courtyard, even in the street. So I was late for Gembe Jensen's teaching, so I wear my shoe, put my book on my shoulder, and I walk across over the monks gathering, jump over, and I went to the street while leading to Loseling. And when the monks are all gathered down there, collecting the soup as well as money. But people who goes on the teaching, sometimes they give up that and goes to teaching. So Gembe Jensen's teaching. So I was late. So then I was walking through, and the street, there's nobody. And I was walking through. And this street is like an L shape. It goes up like this, and then big U-turn, and not U-turn, this sideway, L shape completely. And so up to here, there's a building. So I walked up to here, and there's nothing. Then I made this turn, and then other side, there's a little open field, and I saw a beautiful donkey. Beautiful donkey. Donkey with they got red, green, yellow, and look like peacock. Peacock look like a donkey in the middle, not very big, about my, when I must be about 14 then, or about my chest, that side. And when I walked through, the donkey is looking at me with their eyes opening and closing and looking at me. And I look, it's so wonderful. And I went near the donkey and tried to pet. When I went near the donkey, tried to pet, there's nothing. All that beautiful donkey is gone. And suddenly I heard somebody walking. So I looked back where this L shape, there's some village guy carrying huge cow dung at the back and walking. So donkey disappeared. So that's what I saw. Okay, Glenn told me to tell you one more story. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll see you next Sunday.